Hello everybody, my name is Georgina and I will develop the introduction for our topic that it is using CLT to develop speaking fluency in teenagers with an A2 level of English according to the Common European Framework. Okay, to begin with, communicative language teaching, it is an approach to the teaching of foreign and second languages, okay, that emphasize the interaction as both the means and the ultimate goals of learning a language, okay. This approach was born as a response to another methods, okay, like audiolingual method or situational language teaching, okay, that uses imitation, repetition, and habit formation as the main factors to learn a language, okay. These methods were very criticized in the 1960s for many linguistics, okay, and for example, Noam Chomsky reject the idea that behaviorism and structuralism could help, could only help, for learning a language. Okay, he says that these two aspects left in these two aspects left the creativity and the uniqueness of individual sentences, okay. For example, a child is able to produce an infinite number of sentences that he or she has never encountered, okay. So this reflects that imitation, repetition, and habit formation are weak arguments, okay, for account to account, for any language learning theory, okay. This begin to like a need, okay, for the European countries that were necessitate for a greater effort, okay, to teach adults the principal languages of the continent, right? So new goals were set in the teaching of languages, okay. For example, the importance of the communication aspects of the language, the increasing interest in meaningful learning, the growing centrality of the learning in teaching process, okay, making the learner the center of the class, okay, and the subordinate importance of structural teaching of language, okay. In this period, the linguists and the philosophers addressed another fundamental dimension of language, okay, the functional and the communicative potential of language. They say, okay, that or they showed that we do different things, okay, when we use a language, okay. For example, we use a language to get things, to create interaction with others, to express personal feelings, to learn or to communicate information, okay, among others. And beside this, the linguists emphasize a teaching of language based on communicative proficiency rather than mastery of structures, okay. Instead of describing the core of a language through traditional concepts of grammar and vocabulary, okay, they attempt to show the system of meaning underlying the communicative use of a language, okay. So they describe two kinds of meanings, okay, the notional and the functional, okay. So the notion is like a particular context in which people communicate, okay, and the function is a specific purpose for a speaker, in a given context, okay. So then later in the 1980s, okay, Canale and Swain described 4 dimensions of the communicative competence, okay, that it is what a speaker needs to know in order to be communicatively competent, okay, in a speech community. These aspects are the grammatical competence, okay, the social-linguistic competence that refers to the understanding of the social context in which communication takes place, the discourse competence, that it is the interpretation of individual message elements, and the strategic competence, okay, that refers to the coping strategies that participants use to communicate, okay. So in the communicative language teaching, okay, in order for learning to take place, the emphasis must be put on the importance of three variables, okay. The communication, okay, making activities that involve real communication. Then tasks, okay, there are activities in which language is used to carry out meaningful tasks, okay, and the meaning, okay, language that is meaningful and authentic to the learner. This approach organized the syllabus according to the notional and the functional categories, okay. It concentrates mainly on the interactions, okay, using the language to communicate, on the tasks, using the language to perform meaningful tasks, and mainly on the learner, okay, putting the learner's interest, needs, and likes, for example, in the front. So this is a learner-centered approach, okay, where the teacher becomes more like a guide, okay, that facilitates the tools for students to communicate each other, okay. He or she, the teacher, encourage students to communicate each other, okay, and this is the main role of the teacher in the class. CLT and the task-based language teaching are very valid approaches today, okay, because there are many advantages in teaching according to these approaches, okay. For example, CLT is an holistic approach, okay. It doesn't focus only on the traditional structural syllabus, and it takes into consideration communicative dimension of language, okay. It provides vitality and motivation within the classroom, and the most important thing is that in a world where communication of information and information technology have broken new considerable ground, CLT can play an important role in education.
Hello everybody, my name is Nicolás Silva and I will be talking about fluency and its characteristics. Fluency is definitely one of the main concerns for teachers who work with a communicative approach. We want our students to be able to develop enough fluency, to be able to communicate spontaneously in different contexts. Fluency has to be included into the skills needed for being a successful English teacher, as other skills is perfectly trainable. Through the interaction in problem-solving tasks, negotiating meaning in pairs, using different communication strategies, to name a few, we can develop our students' fluency. According to Richards, the teacher's role is to correct the students' misunderstandings and guide them, avoiding communication breakdowns. We can define fluency as the ability to talk at length with few pauses, as well as being able to produce sentences coherently, reasonable, and systematically. And as well, our students need to have an appropriate range of expressions for using them in different contexts. Language should also be creative and imaginative. Fluency can be contrasted with accuracy. The dilemma in choosing either to put the focus of teaching on the fluency or accuracy aspects of English is the task of the teacher to decide this. Some of the characteristics of the activities focusing on fluency are the fact that they reflect the natural use of language, focusing on achieving communication, and they also require meaningful use of the language, as well as the use of communication strategies. The production of language may not be predictable, seeking the link use of context. Activities focusing on accuracy, on the other hand, reflect classroom use of language, focus on formation of correct examples of language, practice language out of context, practice small samples of language, do not require meaningful communication, and well, this is like a summary of the sort of thing I will be developing during the final oral presentation. So I hope you find it useful in some way. Bye-bye.
My name is Luciana Gadea, and I will be talking about teenagers' A2 characteristics. This level is also known as pre-intermediate level. In this level, students have been exposed to most of the basic grammar structures as present, past, and future, and they are supposed to be reasonably accurate. However, in this stage, students must begin to master new structures that will be more sophisticated. These structures may be perfect tenses, reported speech, future forms, passive voice, WH questions, conditionals, comparatives, superlatives, and all that kind of structures. These learners are expected to have relatively limited vocabulary, but they are supposed to be exposed to a wide range of vocabulary on this level. The vocabulary introduced in this kind of level will be related to social context, because in this stage it is known that teenagers mostly enjoy talking about their personal life and social content from their interest, so that is a good way to motivate them. They will be asked to be familiar with family life, housing and accommodation, past memories, human characteristics, city and famous places, the environment, the health, and entertainment. The student must begin to be communicatively competent, and they are supposed to be able to communicate intelligibly with native speakers. So this is a very important point for this kind of level. They will be making frequent mistakes, but the main important point is that they can be understood by native speakers. And they are supposed, of course, to develop learners' cultural competence, and along all the year they will be able to become of great competence. I would like to talk a little bit about teenagers language learners, because they are really different from other learners. It is said that the stage of development of the adolescence is where a person leaves the childhood to enter in the adulthood. This is a really interesting sentence, because it tells you a lot about this kind of student. They are cognitive and social changes for them, but if there is something that we should take into account, is that in this time of the life of a person, they are very insecure. So it's very important for them what their classmates think about their opinion. This kind of programs is thought to express opinion, to share ideas, to debate. They will enjoy discussion-based activities, but they will be under tremendous pressure, and they are afraid to express their opinion because of what others may think of what they say. As a result, they will feel discouraged if they have a negative response to her or his opinion. So what should the teacher do? The teacher should pitch activities that are for the right level, not too hard, not too easy, because if it is too hard, they will feel frustrated from not being able to get what teacher is asking, and if it is too easy, they can get bored about the lesson. And this is another important point or characteristic from teenagers, that they get easily bored. So and this is very important. Motivation in this type of classes is very important. I will say that it's crucial. When we talk about what they prefer, it's said that they prefer to respond to text and to situation with their own thoughts and experiences, because they enjoy talking about their real lives. And another interest point of view that it has been studied by psychologists is that they remember things logically better than mechanically, so their thinking is more abstract. This is a great opportunity to write more advanced grammatical structures, that will be easy. And talking about the practical example, for this opportunity we thought of acting out a dialogue. So let's imagine that students are going through a shopping unit. So this unit is supposed to show them shopping routine, and students will be presented with wide vocabulary about this topic. So since the first moment the activity will be exposed to the student, the speaking ability will be in practice, although they will be, of course, developing other skills as well. While students create a dialogue, the teacher may write in the board some key words or key phrases like greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, possible items to buy like milk, water, rice, etc., and possible phrases like may I help you, do you want anything else, I am looking for... Okay, and when the first draft of the dialogue will be finished, the teacher should ask the student to read it carefully and to practice it with his or her peer. Finally, when all the group be ready, the student will act out their dialogues. As it is known, and as I have already said, students enjoy talking about their real life, so it would be really good option after finish acting out to ask a student about the last time they went shopping. This will be very helpful to develop develop speaking skill, because they will be sharing their own experiences with their classmate, which is something they really like, and you don't have a wide range to get negative opinions about it.